Hey everyone, this is Brett Favre, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packers content. Go Packers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee. He is the draft board guru, as we've been in here crunching numbers already, figuring out a new formula for the board. Emilio, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good, man. Happy it's Friday. Glad to talk a little ball. Got a little East-West in last night, so I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, got great feedback from the live stream. The views were way up. People seem to enjoy that. Obviously, we're going to do it again tomorrow for the Senior Bowl. We'll be live, hopefully for the duration of the game. Might be a little bit more dead air involved with that, but we're going to try to stay live for the entirety of that game, or at least until it gets boring. You know how it is. You get in the second half, players get pulled out, that type of thing. Everybody gets their reps, so it gets a little bit stale. But, man, it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot. We got to share a lot about the prospects. Go through the board while we're watching the game. Everybody kind of hanging out watching the game together. It's a lot of fun.
It was a good time.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll waste no time, man. Let's go to the chat real quick. 2-0 for this. My prediction is that Tay and Khalil Mack are both Packers. Hey, we're going to talk about Tay's cryptic social media post from earlier today, which had
been saying that. That's the only two I want to hook my train to in free agency. That's it. Unless somebody gets cut that is, a diamond in the rough. That's all I care about this offseason free agency.
And I honestly think there will be several players that get cut like that. I really do. So as soon as those cuts come in, we will adjust our free agency talk and kind of, all right, let's reset the free agent board, who's best available. But yeah, I mean, for me, I would much rather have Chris Godwin than Davante Adams. That's me personally. Other than Chris Godwin, though, Tay would be at the top of my list, I believe, just because Chris Godwin he can be that number one. And I know he's not like a big jump ball guy, but to me, he's like that dude that can kind of run he can kind of run every route on the tree. He's got great hands. He's produced, 1,000-yard seasons, I want to say 5 or 6 times throughout his career. You couple him with Jaden Reed, and you decide if you want to keep Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs. The Christian Watson conversation is going to be very fascinating next year, obviously, as we're not going to get a real good look until he's on the field, probably week 12 or 13, and then you can see, okay, is he going to be slow to get back to the old form? And, honestly, if the Packers are going to have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl next year, I'm not saying it's the top priority, but you're going to have to do something at receiver room, I believe. You're going to have to add a number one. And I think Chris Godwin would give you 3 years, at least 2, maybe 3 years, as where Tay might be a 1-year fix. But, again, he would be my second option. And Khalil Mack's at the top of my list. I would actually prefer Khalil Mack on a 1 to 2 year deal rather than trading draft compensation for Max Crosby. That's just me personally. So
that's it, because we already have talent coming up on both sides. That's where anything 3 for Godwin, that wouldn't be bad, but I still feel like get Tay in there for a year or two, go chase 1, go chase 2, and then get him out of there. Just let whatever has grown up. Jaden Reed's going to be a star at one point. Who else is going to be blowing up? Is it going to be Christian Dobbs, Wicks, Tucker? I mean, we're going to have to spread the money out.
Yeah, definitely. So Turtle says Tay and Garrett Wilson will somehow make their way to us. Boy, that would be wild. I'm going to put that. I would definitely bet against that. So Turtles, I hope you're correct, though. That would be really cool. I just don't see it happen. I don't see it, mainly because it sounds like Garrett Wilson's trying to get away from Tay with the way, that kind of photo where I think it was his agent that leaked it out. I say leaked it out, but basically had it put out in the public that if Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams was coming back next year, he's basically wanted to be traded, was the rumor. I think they put that out as a filler to let the front office know, hey, look, I'm not doing this again, that type of thing. So, and to me, that's kind of a red flag when it comes to Garrett Wilson, honestly. Go out there and compete and earn the reps, that type of thing. I don't know. Daryl in the chat says, I think Khalil Mack will be a great addition to the Packers despite the age. I completely agree, Daryl. Again, we need to get more veteran leadership in here, and that's kind of what 2 over this is saying. He says Godwin is good, but 17 is the leader that we need. It's more than skill. See, I see Godwin as a leader as well, 2-0 for this. Ever since Godwin's been in the league, He's one of those dudes that teammates absolutely adore him. He's produced at a high level. I know what you're saying, though. I guarantee you, I would just about guarantee Tay has a little more leadership than Godwin. He's definitely got more fruit on the tree.
I was going to say, you're telling me Tay's not a leader?
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
Hey, my man was at the forefront of the COVID battle. What? Wash your hands, wash your butt. You'll stay off the COVID list. So, all right, let's dive into a little bit of news. We didn't hit this yesterday, and I wanted to dive into it a little bit here as the Packers have a new coach on staff. I'm really excited about this. Surprise, surprise. It's a Bill Belichickian hire. The Green Bay Packers have found their defensive line coach, and that is DeMarcus Covington. Covington was hired by Bill Belichick as a coaching assistant in 2017, then was handpicked by Belichick to be his defensive line coach in 2020. So he now becomes the defensive line coach in Green Bay. I was also reading other comments across Twitter. I can't remember who mentioned it, but it was something along the lines of he can coach multiple positions as well. He's qualified to coach linebacker. He's qualified to coach DBs. He's just kind of that. That's how Belichick was, though, right? So if he came up as a coaching assistant, and I'll zoom in here real quick. Basically, in college, back in 2012, he was 23 years old, and he was a defensive graduate assistant at UAB. Then he was a defensive graduate assistant at Ole Miss in 2013, 2014. Then he took a promotion as defensive line coach at Tennessee Martin. Okay, that was in 2015. He was 26 years old. Then he went to Eastern Illinois, where he was co-defensive coordinator. So you see another promotion there. That was in 2016 when he was 27 years old. And then he was hired by the New England Patriots as a coaching assistant. People are going, what's that? Belichick is real big on quality control. He's real big on everybody in the building needs to understand the Patriot way. Josh McDaniels is a perfect example of that. He got on as an offensive assistant, right? A coaching assistant. And caught Bill Belichick's eye real quick. Hey, this dude gets it. He understands what we're trying to accomplish in terms of studying the game, understanding tendencies, knowing how to make the other team play left-handed, all the things that Bill Belichick loves to do. And it kind of feels like he's seen the same thing in Coach Covington here, as he was hired as a coaching assistant for 2 years, and he was promoted to outside linebackers coach in 2019 at the age of 30. Then he was promoted to defensive line coach in 2020 at the age of 31. He was the defensive line coach for 4 straight years, guys. There were some good defensive years in there. There were, right? And I know it ended bad for them. Obviously, Gerard Mayo took over last year, and Covington was promoted to defensive coordinator. This is how I feel about Covington, Amelia. I want to get your take. Last year, there were some people that were like, yeah, Ansley was a defensive coordinator, but he lost his job. I got you. I understand that. But when you've seen the game at the defensive coordinator level and then you take a step back into a position group, you understand as an assistant to your DC or OC, if you're on the offensive side of the ball, here's what those guys are going through. Here's what's on their plate. How can I make their job easier, right? And obviously with Derek Ansley last year, I thought he'd done a hell of a job in that regard. And we'll talk about, obviously, Coach Camp moving on here in a second. But I think it's awesome that we got another position coach who has seen the game. Not only has he studied Bill Belichick for how many years now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 years. He got the study under Bill Belichick, but he's also seen the game as a defensive coordinator there last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's kind of like how we did it last year. We brought in somebody that was overqualified for their position to come in and just teach him everything and as much time as you're allowed, because there's not a whole lot of time. Let's get the guy in there. Let's start moving on it. But you're right, learning under Belichick, we gotta take that as a win. Just from that point alone, like you said, 6 years working through. He was outside linebackers, D-line. We went from a 3-4 to a 4-3. So he's seen that transition. Been defensive coordinator last year, was one in college. I mean, the dude's been in it. I'm excited. That really does get me excited. The heart of Bill Belichick's defense started with their D-line, though, too. So, I mean, he had a bunch of schemes for the secondary, but what won him a lot of championships, besides Brady, was that defense, man.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that is Coach Covington. To the best of my knowledge, it's done, right? I'm pretty sure it's done.
Yeah, what I know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was multiple reports coming out. I think Rob Domofsky broke it early, and then a couple other people started reporting on it as well. So it sounds like it's a done deal. Hopefully that doesn't fall through. But, yeah, there you go. Again, that is Coach DeMarcus Covington is going to be the new defensive line coach for the Green Bay Packers.
Like Hafley, you know what I mean? Hafley was a head coach, came here to be a DC. Everybody can, you go up one step, take a step back. You've seen the whole field. It's nice.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's see here what else we got next. Let's get to the bad news of the day. All right, and this tore me up. One of my favorite coaches on the staff here, Tom Pelissero, tweeted out the Jaguars agreed to terms with Coach Anthony Campanelli as their defensive coordinator. Sources tell the insiders it's the first NFL DC job for Campanelli, who most recently was Green Bay's linebacker coach / running game coordinator. Now he joins Liam Cole. Yeah, I think he meant Cohen in Jacksonville. So you guys know
Duval.
Going to be awkward. Going to be really awkward. And I think we actually did talk about this yesterday because I remember thinking Coach Camp's got to walk in there and go, boy, I hope the check's clear because this probably ain't going to be worth it.
Hey, all he's got to worry about the defense, right? Whatever the offense does. But, a great guy. We knew that this was a possibility just because, he's had that experience. But happy for what he taught the backers. Mm-hmm. Ready to, give him a chance at his own,
Yeah. And I will say this, man, as much hell as a portion of the fan base gives Matt LaFleur, boy, he sure gets guys opportunities, don't he? I mean, and that's one of the most important skills as a head coach, not just obviously play calling and managing the ball club, but being able to promote and find the right coaches to join your staff. It's obviously he's knocking that out of the park because how many guys have gotten opportunities at other clubs, So it's really important. It definitely is. So got to tip your cap to Coach LaFleur there. Up next, we got a couple of things here left over from the Senior Bowl that I wanted to hit on just real quick. A couple of videos. This is Mr. Mike Green. Obviously, Mike Green really impressed at the Senior Bowl, as Brian Baldinger said in his. It said Mike Green is first in line in every drill and makes everything look easy. When you get Baldy, a former NFL offensive lineman, talking about that, man, look at the bend, look at the burst, athleticism, everything with Mike Green. He's skyrocketing up boards right now, Emilio.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it there. The explosion off the line and then the finish at the end. Obviously, the turns, you try and go out there, touch the ground and turn, man. That's not easy, but his bend, his flexibility, I think pays off a lot. And I think it was PFF Pod. They were saying he practiced 2 days and then he kind of just packed up his stuff and headed out. That's all you needed to see. I'll be waiting for you at the draft. So, I mean, for a small school guy, way to make a name for yourself, way to put it out there. And just, I mean, even if, like you said, even if you go to a small school, you can still perform as long as you step up to competition.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of this because Mike Green was significantly lower on most people's boards. Like the consensus big board originally, this is pre-All-Star game week, right? They had him in the 33 spot. The PFF big board had him in the 47 spot, right? So if you average those two out, you'd say he's somewhere around 40, right? Maybe 30 or something like that. And I put a tweet out originally saying, hey, here's my top guys so far that are really popping. And he was one of the top 8. Well, now he's settling in on our board at the 12 spot as Daniel Jeremiah put him on his short list of players that just absolutely exploded off the tape there in Mobile, right, is where they have the Mobile, where they have the Risa Bose. So, yep. Mike Green, that's a dude that I don't think he's going to be around at 23 now. It just feels like he's probably going to go top 20, but you never know, man. We'll hold out a little bit of hope, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he's probably top 15. The dude is a talent. And yeah, like if he does fall to us, Goody's running that card. I mean, I don't think that's a question.
No doubt. Another one that really impressed was Toledo defensive lineman Darius Alexander. As Dane Brugler tweeted out, he continued to stack impressive reps during Senior Bowl week. Looked good during Thursday's practice. Stock up player. So obviously an interior defensive lineman there, Darius Alexander, man. The thing I'm noticing here with this short little clip, Emilio, is the burst. I mean, look how quick, man.
Burst and, engage, get off. The first one was a bull rush. Second one was a swipe and rip. I mean, and to throw a guy back like that, I mean, they know you're coming, right? And it's not like they don't know, who your one-on-one's going to be. It's a lot of one-on-ones. And, just being able to get past a dude like that, not even have to really work too hard. I love it. You have good reps. It brings you up that board, man.
Yeah, so look for Darius Alexander. I know he raised on our board a little bit, but we had him significantly lower.
118.
118. So, and he got the Daniel Jeremiah early bonus here from Senior Bowl week. So definitely keep an eye on him. As like I said, Darius Alexander out of Toledo. Pretty cool, man. Quinyon Mitchell last year. Now you got Darius Alexander. They're starting to put that, hey, Toledo's a small school to bed, you know, starting to turn out some prospects. So It's cool to see some of the teams that haven't had a whole lot of success in the past. Now you're in the NIL era where, hey, it's the wild, wild west, man. You're going to see teams just emerge out of nowhere. They're going to start producing top talent and doing special things.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great point. It's cool that, you know, you have East Carolina with Revel there, the cornerback. You have Mike Green being Marshall. You got Zabel, who's probably going to go in the first round from NDSU. It's awesome to see that even if you're at a little school, you can still make a name and get a shot.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. All right, let's move it along here. What else do we have on the old Twitter? Tim put a tweet out earlier. I had to hit on. He said the possibility of the Packers signing wide receiver T. Higgins are slim, and we have other positions to address before adding a wide receiver that'll want $25+ million per year. As NFL Talk, NFL_talk_sports on Twitter said the possibility of the 49ers signing T. Higgins are slim, but they have other positions to address before adding a wide receiver that will want $25+ million per year per the league source. So we're going to say per Tim, he thinks the Packers are looking at the same way. And I really do, man. T. Higgins just – I could be wrong. They may go after him, you know, day one like they did Xavier McKinney. He just doesn't really feel like a Packer player to me, man. I don't know. He upset the card a little bit in Cincinnati. There was constant holdout conversation, I think 2 years in a row. And, you know, you're also looking up going, man, is Jamar Chase really drawing the attention away from him? And even with that being said, he didn't produce as well, in my opinion, as some people are making it sound like this dude's a 1,500-yard receiver, you know? Yeah. I'm going, he could be, I guess, but the whole, well, it's because the ball was going to Jamar Chase. Okay, well, Jamar Chase is bending coverage his way. He's a true number one. Chase draws the attention to him. So how the hell did T. Higgins not have more production? That's my thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly it. I mean, you can't expect Joe to do it all. I mean, and T. Higgins, everybody wants to go back to that draft and say that we would have won a Super Bowl if that was the case, but I don't see it. I mean, we can't be looking back on it this time and say that that would have happened. And I would, like I said, keep me far away from that. Bring Tay in or nobody. I mean, that's really it.
And for me, it's like I said, Godwin and Tay are kind of right there together for me. Outside of that, unless somebody gets cut, again, that wide receiver needs to be the last thing you put in place. You know, It's the final piece to the puzzle. Now, there's some teams that luck up and they kind of put it in place as they go. But you know, you gotta be built out in the trenches, obviously, to have a legit shot at going deep in the playoffs. Like when you even look at Philadelphia, right? They went out and got A.J. Brown after I want to say it was the year before they made it to the Super Bowl. So they finally, all right, you got the trenches solidified. Everything's in place. You had Jason Kelsey at the time. I think that's when they went and got A.J. Brown was that year. So we'll see, though, man, for sure. Yeah. Coach Lynn says, go ahead. You got it.
I was going to say, Coach Lynn said he was with you, Clay. I'm good on Higgins. Rather have Godwin or Tay. Drew D said, I don't see Goop paying for a wide receiver one, though. And that's a great point, but I'm not expecting Tay to – I mean, that's what I'm telling Tay. I mean, I want to bring you in as a mental wide receiver one, you know, but I don't know if we're dropping – you know, we're not going to give him $30 million. It's not going to happen. I would say anywhere from, 15 to 20 or, you know, 10 to 20, something like that. Get him a deal and say, hey, come up here for a year or two and let's get it done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and again, you look for precedent. The last player – was Goody the one that paid Devontae Adams his second contract? I'm trying to think when he got that deal because he left – what year did Tay leave Green Bay and went to the Raiders? He was at the Raiders for 2 years, right? So that would have been 2021, so 19. So, yeah, Goody came in – when did Goody come in? 2018, am I thinking right? So – yeah, so if it's 2018, so it was probably the Ted Thompson regime, right, that gave him the money. So if I'm thinking right, I could be wrong, but to this point, Goody there's no precedent with Goody paying a wide receiver, even in-house, number one wide receiver money. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But you guys correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't think it was Goody that gave Davante Adams the extension.
Trying to pull up Spot Track quick. But yeah, that's tough because I just he got paid.
When did he get his contract extension?
The Raiders gave it to him in 22.
Right.
Yeah, so then the franchise tag, we gave him franchise tag in 22. He got his rookie extension was 17 to 21.
Yeah, so that would have been Ted, right?
Right.
Now, some people think that Goody was kind of running things those last couple of years. Maybe that's the case. I guess we'll never know. But because Ted's health went downhill pretty quickly. Yeah, so really, there's not much precedent there for Goot doing that. So we'll see.
But we saw him do it in the offseason last year, but they were a younger prime talent. It was X and Josh Jacobs, a young, super gem fine kind of thing, not a older receiver. So like you said, we're in no man's land.
Yeah, and my point is like no receiver at all so far.
Yeah, that's
Goody's
true.
Kind of
that's so true.
Yeah. So,
Jason Y here, Clayton. He said, "I think Goody's a Bill Walsh disciple too. I heard him quote Walsh in his last press conference. That's your boy right there."
Oh, definitely. Goody was – so he came up in he studied under Ted Thompson, right?
Yep.
Ted Thompson studied under Ron Wolf. And Ron Wolf comes from that line of Al Davis, Bill Walsh. There was a lot of competing going on between Bill Walsh and Al Davis back in the day with them being both on the West Coast. But I want to say that I think that Ron Wolf, I could be wrong, he started with the Raiders and then worked himself into a West Coast offense top roster, and then he obviously got the job there in Green Bay. And when he got the job in Green Bay, he of course goes and gets one of the first things he does is he goes and hires Mike Holmgren, a West Coast offense, OC for San Francisco, and the rest is history. So yeah, I guarantee you, Goot has the Bill Walsh book, all those books that Bill Walsh wrote and co-wrote on the bookshelf there to lean on from time to time. Walsh was an amazing football mind, man. Yeah. And it's wild because he was always talked like that his teams were soft, and they were the farthest thing from it. I want to say it was Parcells or maybe it was Mike Ditka said, yeah, everybody refers to him as a finesse team, but we don't look at them as a finesse when they're smacking us in the damn mouth with the run game. It's like they're not a finesse team. You had Ronnie Lott cutting a finger off so he didn't miss a game. They're going to say that they're finesse.
That is crazy. That really is crazy to think.
Yeah. 2-0 for this says, I'm excited to read Bill Belichick's book. That's going to be fascinating, man. I'm telling you. He's been a part of multiple books. I could give you a list of them. Matter of fact, I might put that together and put it in the Patreon group, the ones I've read that are people that coached under him, and he would have small little sections in those books where he would, kind of do the forward and this and that. But yeah, this one's going to be great, man. It's it'll be on audiobook. Emilio, that's what I'll be.
I was going to say. That was what I was just going to say. I'm ready to listen to this book. No way I'm flipping through pages.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about being in landscaping, like both me and Emilio are, man. You get on that mower and you got a 10-hour day. You listen to this stuff fast. See, I'm stupid. You're way more intelligent than me. I have to listen to it on normal speed, but you speed it up a little bit to get through it quick.
Yeah, I do. It's on like 1.1 or 1.2. Sometimes you do sound a little funny. It kind of ripped through a talking point, but yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you just get to burn through it.
Yeah, AFAM says the pitchers in the middle. They got some scratch and sniff pitchers in the middle, as a matter of fact, man. So, yeah, it's going to be good, man, for sure. All right, so here was the big talk of the day is Davante Adams put a social media post. I think this was Instagram, I believe. And I believe there was no caption. It was just his shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emilio, he's wearing green and gold shoes, man. That means he's going back to Green Bay, right?
I mean, it might as well. The car's black and yellow. His shoes are green and yellow. We played the Steelers in a Super Bowl in 2010, so it all comes together. I mean, it
really does.
I was looking for a clutch pedal, but I'll take it. It better have paddle shifters at least on it, right?
Yeah, and Boz hit the nail on the head. He's a world-class troll. they laughed about it. Him and Aaron used to, oh my God, they had so much fun with the media in the office. Hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? And they'd be laughing about it in the background. They'd talk about it on the McAfee show. I know Aaron mentioned it one time. He was like, Tay's the ultimate internet.
What's Jerry Jones say, Clay? Any publicity is good publicity?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what Jerry Jones said.
Hey, I don't know, man. We're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it, so it worked.
It worked.
But I mean, I've seen cleaner floor mats on my race car bed. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at that left ankle. This is me. My thought immediately goes to he's an older receiver. That left ankle look a little swollen. We got some kind of injury this offseason. I'm a little worried. We'll get him in here for a physical if we're going to pull the trigger. So, yeah, but I'm with you, boss. He's definitely a tro. No doubt about it. So there's the Tay talk. Oh, here we go. I forgot to tweet this out. Matter of fact, I knew I tweeted it out, but I forgot to put the image and everything. There's the book we were talking about. It's called The Art of Winning, Lessons from My Life in Football. Bill Belichick said so. Adam Schefter tweeted it out. It's going to be dropping in May. That's perfect timing, Emilio. Perfect time. The mowing season will be cranked up. I'm excited about it. It's going to be great. So there's the book. Go.
You let me know where to get it, and it's going in the ears.
Yeah. And if you do purchase it in the promo code area, just type in PTA. That will give you $0 off. There you go. Oh, man. Let's see. I think we got a couple other things here. Tim, of course, Tim isn't here, so I'm going to do this on purpose. We're going to talk a little Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
As this tweet went out, hopefully there ain't too much sound. Let me mute it. So his release package is what I've been watching. Really, really impressive. I don't want to go full screen here because I don't know what we may or may not get hit with, but I want to give a shout out to Matt Lane at Matty_KCSN for tweeting this video out. Go give him a follow. This is Jaden Higgins. It says, big, long wide receiver with fluid movement skills, stood out in Mobile with his route pacing and ability to sell his routes before exploding out of his breaks. The big thing I noticed, again, was the release package was the big thing for me, Emilio. If you can see here, it's kind of hard to see, but you're going to notice at the bottom, look at that separation, bro. And it's not like he's blazing fast either. It's just that separate. Watch this. Look at this release. Whoop. That's nasty. Again, the footwork, man. Let's watch the footwork again.
Dude. Can we slow it down? Can you just – is that possible?
Are you kidding me? We could geek out here for a minute.
How fast – how technical – oh, boy, 0.25.
You ready? Look at this.
He's watched Tay before, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is sweet, though, man. Look at this. There's so much to this. It's so deep. Look. Oh, yeah, a little hop.
Dude. The toe drag to start it off, right? All right, you're watching way too much. You get him baiting on the toe drag, steps across, stacks him, gets the guy backpedaling on his heels a little bit. Yep. And once he opened his hips, it was over. I mean,
look at the separate. And again, you don't have to be fast when you separate like that.
No, he's got 6-7 yards of space. I mean, I could hit that. I mean, I could underthrow that by 2 yards and still hit the dude.
Yeah. Again, that's just I know Tim will be fired up over this, no doubt. Let's see what else.
Tim's going to clip just that. Tim's going to go back and clip just that, those shake moves in slow motion and put it up there.
Exactly. So here he is up top. See if we can get him in the frame up here. Again, another decent release right through the jam. No problem at all. Right. Look at that. Look how open he is up there on that corner. Yeah. So Jaden Higgins obviously getting a little bit of buzz around him. Let's see where he's at. He's down here at the bottom. This might be the one we already see. Oh, this is different. Look at this release. Oh, yeah. Look at that inside down. You can see that on a slot cross all day long.
All day.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe no one. It's either that or they're scared of him. They don't want to put their hands on him. Obviously, these are for it's built for offensive players, right? These drills are built for the receivers. They're built for quarterbacks. No pressure, no defense. You got no help as a corner. So honestly, as much as you can, I'd probably be using the sideline to my advantage, right? So, but when you get crossed up like that, it's tough to see off the line.
Really is. Joseph said if Tim's watching this, he just had a release. There you go. I'd say you're probably right there, Joseph. So, again, shout out to Matt Lane at Matty_KCSN. Go give him a follow over on X for that clip there. So, obviously, Jaden Higgins starting to stick out a little bit more. And we have him a little bit lower on our board than most people do. I don't want to say most people, but Tim's got him number 2, I think. I love it
He's
too.
got him like -1. He's already drafted him.
You guys have no idea how bad I want them to draft him just for Tim. You know what I mean? You know how fired up he would be if they draft. Oh my gosh, it'd be awesome, absolutely awesome. So we'll get to the draft board here in a second. Again, we've got Jaden Higgins in the 38 spot currently. So just keep that in mind. And he did not get a Senior Bowl or a Shrine Bowl bonus, so that's like his true, just raw grade there. So
yep, absolutely. He was consistent, man.
Right, exactly. Let's go to the Patreon group real quick, and then we'll get back to the board and talk about some other stuff here as we'll go rapid fire. Joseph in the Patreon group. If you guys want to join the Patreon group, just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or you can scan the QR code in the upper right there. Thank you, Emilio. That'll send you to the same website. We've got 3 different tiers in there. You can just get the cheapest tier that gives you access to all the chats in there, get you access to giveaways. We're going to be doing a giveaway tomorrow, as a matter of fact. If you're a member on Patreon, okay, you're one of those 3-tier members, or you're a member here on YouTube, a YouTube member, not a sub, but a member. We're going to put your name on the Larry McCarron pinky wheel. We're going to spin that sucker, and we're going to give away an autographed Dorsey Levens jersey. It's a sweet piece of memorabilia, a lot like these styles back here, but it's going to be a white, and it's a Dorsey Levens. Really, really cool stuff. Man, I got a couple jerseys coming I'm excited about. I got an autographed Xavier McKinney in the mail, and an autographed Josh Jacobs on the way. And I got a picture of Bart Starr that he autographed. So that I'm really excited about. It's my first piece of autographed Bart Starr memorabilia. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, if you guys want access to those chats, they'll just join the Patreon group. Joseph in there says, I just watched the Senior Bowl O-line versus D-line one-on-ones and came away very impressed with the following. Ursary. Emilio, do you have access to the board right now?
I do.
Cool. As we call these out, you just tell me where we got them at. I'll read them
off.
We have
Ursary at 33.
Well, that's right in the wheelhouse for 23 pick, right?
I would say.
So, yeah, Ursary, obviously an offensive lineman. Then Monheim, he's an offensive lineman as well, right?
Yes, Monheim. Sure. He is USC, correct? He is 81st.
81st. Okay, so let me we've got the picks up here on the
so probably our first and then our third.
Probably the third
is 87th, right?
Yep. First and third, you'd have a shot at those 2 players.
Okay.
And then that's the other thing, too, for people that are in the Patreon group, we're going to do a draft contest where we're going to have everybody do a mock draft. You pick, hey, this is my mock draft. We're going to have you guys email it to me so we have it, right? And you only get one. And whoever gets closest to what the Packers do, we're going to be giving away a piece of memorabilia for that, too.
And that is just exclusive to Patreon, right, Clay?
Just to Patreon. That's correct.
Gotcha.
We're trying to get in that direction because, guys, we don't control YouTube. Like, it was this time last year, immediately following the draft, the YouTube channel got demonetized, and all of a sudden we're going, what did we do wrong? No one would tell us what we did wrong. We found out later what it was, which was still a BS reason that someone claimed that they were the owner of College Football Tape, which is absolutely false. We're allowed to use it. We just can't monetize it. So typically to just say, hey, you can't monetize this. Okay, awesome. We're good with that. And because it's all AI generated, there was no one to talk to at YouTube. Even when I talked to the people in the chat, they were like, man, nothing we can do. AI detected it. All right, cool. So that's why we want Patreon to be kind of the hub, the base for what we do, because you can always find a link to the show in there no matter what happens on YouTube. I hope we stay on YouTube forever. I think it's been a great platform.
I mean, you can always chat. You know, if you're one that wants to talk to people in the chat, you're always waiting for the link or whatever. I mean, you can do that on Patreon all the time. You know.
Next on this list was Belton. All right, I think he's significantly lower. Oh, well,
Belton.
Do this.
Our boy Belton, Anthony Belton, NC State. We have him at 163.
163. There you go. So that would probably be around the 5th round if you want to take him with 158.
Not bad.
That's where Belton's sitting. What about Rivers? Do we know who he's talking about with Rivers?
Is that the Miami tackle? Yeah, Jalen Rivers. I heard he was actually doing pretty well there. At the Senior Bowl. We have him at 208. He is a Senior Bowl and met with the Packers.
Gotcha. So that could be a 6th to 7th round pick, right?
Yep.
Most
likely.
Like it. Yep. And then you've got Connerly. I think I want to say
Jack Connerly, right out of BC. Hold on.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, Connerly. Or I'm sorry, Oregon. Or Josh Connerly.
Josh Connerly. That's who I'm thinking. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Josh Connerly Jr.
27, am I thinking right?
27. Yep, out of Oregon Senior Bowl. We have not met with them, but hey, like I said, we're building those trenches. 2 O-line, 2 D-line, and we'll figure out the rest. But that's got to be a bare minimum.
Yeah, so he's got 2 identified here that he really liked. Zabel as well. Zabel is 22nd on our board. So
I think Zabel's going top. I think Zabel's going top 20. Clay, he's made a name.
He really.
I really do think he's going to go early.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he falls to us because he's a versatile guy we would pluck no matter what. I think it would be an easy run the card up. The only thing that would push it back is if Nolan's sitting right there too.
Right. And then he mentions Malum here. I'm a little confused. He says Malum performed his way into possibly day 3. Absolutely terrible. So I haven't really got a chance to dig into that. He must have had a really, really rough Senior Bowl week there. We've got him in the 18 spot. We do not penalize for bad All-Star game or All-Star week performances. We only give bonuses. Same thing as with the combine. What I want to happen, guys, is I want to know what were people thinking immediately following the college football season, and that's their base, and they cannot go backwards from there. People can leapfrog them, but they can't slide back from there. So again, I'm running it through the thought process, the mindset of Bill Belichick, who says, hey, tell me what the player can do, not what they can't do, right? That's kind of how I see that. So, but that's interesting, good information there, Joseph, because I hadn't followed close enough to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
We also had another one said, double up with Ursary and Belton and have potential dominant bookend offensive tackles who could also play guard in a pinch. And I definitely want us to take one of Zabel or Monheim to potentially be our center of the future. Rivers will be a dominant guard. Connerly fits our zone blocking scheme and so athletic, but lacks some anchoring strength. Ursary's kick step is so elite. I had not seen Belton before, so he was definitely the biggest surprise for me. So Joseph, thank you so much, man. Full scouting report right there. I love it. Love that people are getting into the tape, man. They're getting into watching the practices and really following along this draft. It's going to be a blast as we get closer here.
I'm saying anyone can do it, man. If you dive into it, I still, like I'm saying, still need to get to the tape, but it's fun to just watch them. You get to watch their highlights, see who's done well, and the practice clips are the best way to get, your feet wet and kind of just get an idea on where they're at.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so this was an article that Daniel Jeremiah put out. These are his top guys coming out of Senior Bowl, okay? We'll dive into them here. We may not read all of the write-ups here, but the one at the top of his list, Darius Alexander out of Toledo, defensive tackle. He says, I'm featuring a former Toledo Rocket on this list for the second year in a row after Alexander followed up Quinyon Mitchell's standout Senior Bowl performance in 2024 with a strong showing of his own in 25. Alexander flashed every day in practice week. Every day in practice this week, right? His combination of size and athleticism is really impressive. He has long arms, 34 inches, and is a rangy interior defensive lineman. His body type reminds me of Chiefs All-Pro defensive tackle Chris Jones. That's wild. Where's Darius Alexander on our board again, Emilio? Any idea? If you'll be ready to tell me where we got
118.
118. So again, maybe 122 if he falls that far. Maybe he climbs up the board and you reach and get him with the 3rd round pick at 87, right? You got a couple of defensive linemen, 2, 3, 4 defensive linemen that are kind of hovering
in the
second
middle
and third. Yeah. And it's kind of goes hand in hand with what Daniel Jeremiah said, is he feels like from the 20th prospect to the 60th prospect, they're all kind of the same. That's exciting, I think, man. You got a chance to double dip, maybe even triple dip in that range if you trade back a little bit. So
absolutely. And that's if we're not pulling an early round talent or a blue chip top 15, like we said, let's try to work the board a little bit more, get a couple more scatter shots. It's worked for us in the past. How many of those guys in the past couple of drafts have stayed on this team? How many guys have been kept and we didn't have to go chase down anybody in free agency or anybody that's just kind of hanging around out there. I like that we're building from inside out.
Yeah, no doubt. Next on his list is Elijah Arroyo. I think I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
I had Arroyo near the bottom of my top 50 rankings coming into the week, but I think he's going to leave the Senior Bowl with some first-round buzz. We all knew about his size and speed before he arrived in Mobile. He showed that during his breakout season with Miami, in 2024. The thing that stood out to me in practice this week was his route polish. He blocked well too. The arrow is pointing all the way up here. So where do we have tight end out of Miami, Elijah Arroyo?
68.
68.
Yeah.
So a potential second-round pick, maybe something like that. Right?
Not for us, but for somebody else, definitely.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, man, when you think about it. I'm not sold on Musgrave. Guys, I was the biggest Musgrave fanboy, him coming out of college. But
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Dude didn't get to play this year. I'm gonna let him ride it out another year. I think we got more needs, but I feel you on that. If he doesn't turn it around, it's tough when you got a guy drafted after you just took your limelight. It's not like he wanted to be the face of the team or anything, but the dude that was drafted after you became that number one tight end and is going to stay the number one tight end forever, I would assume. So you have a niche role being that vertical threat type of tight end, but you do have to kind of fill it.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying too. Like maybe it would take him fall into the third or fourth round where it's like, this makes too much sense. Then you go get him.
Right. Yeah. Right. I hear you.
So Chris C with the super chat. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I found you guys on YouTube during last year's draft. That's awesome, man. Yeah. What I noticed in the off season, since I've been doing this is my third off season doing a podcast, is you find the hardcore fans in the off season. And I love it. Like most podcasters just kind of take this time and they step away and they'll do a little bit of podcasting here or there. We really press in because I know the people who are looking for football content right now are diehard fans. And diehard fans are going to fit in really well with us because we're just a bunch of nerds in here, man. We're not the, hey, let's drink 6 beers and complain about, why the wide receiver dropped that ball in the third quarter. We're in here breaking down the X's and O's, trying to understand the blueprint of the roster that Goody's creating, trying to understand the salary cap at a different level, trying to not predict for bragging rights, but try to dive into free agency and understand it at a little bit different level. The board this year has went to the next level. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So, Chris, we're glad you found it, man. You're one of the best listeners, best viewers in here, man. It's always fun engaging with you here and on X as well. So, thank you for the super chat.
Appreciate it.
All right, next one on DJ's short list here from the Senior Bowl, Jeffrey Bassa or Bassa. I'm going to say Bassa. Bassa made a bunch of plays and practice this week, but his leadership stood out as much as anything else. I could hear him all the way up in the press box as he directed traffic on the field. He definitely has that alpha mentality at the linebacker position, which is going to help him during the evaluation process leading up to the draft. Guys, I think we need 2 linebackers. And how cool would it be if you take one a little bit later in the draft? When I say later, outside of the first 2 rounds, and they emerge as that guy next to Edgerrin Cooper, like the next Edgerrin Cooper would be awesome. Where do we have Bass at? I want to say Bass is kind of low on our board, but I'm not 100% sure.
169.
Okay. Got it. So we have him at 169. Daniel Jeremiah doesn't have him in his oh, actually, that's the wrong one there. Does he have Bassa in his top? Matter of fact, let me just do this.
He has.
Not you're in there.
No, you can do that, guy. You can do it. He does not have him on the big board, though.
Okay.
He does. Yeah, no.
All right, cool. So we're not the only person that sees him kind of late, right? So, yeah, look for him a little later in the draft. But, again, he started to turn heads there at the Senior Bowl practice. Next is Joshua Farmer. This one blew my mind, Emilio. Go find him on the board. It says Farmer battled with another standout on my list, North Dakota State offensive lineman Gray Zabel, whom I'll get to a little bit later. All week long, Farmer's strength and quickness reminded me of Pittsburgh Steelers defensive lineman Keanu Benton. Farmer showed he can play in any scheme. If you want him to two-gap, he can do that. If you want him to penetrate and get up the field, he has the quickness to do that for you too. I think he's going to be well-liked across the league as teams do more homework on him in the weeks ahead. I'm already looking forward to seeing what he can do at the NFL Scouting Combine. He told my colleague Tom Pelissero that he's going to shock a lot of people with his speed in Indianapolis. So this might be the Braden Fisk this year, boys. Might be. Where do we have him at?
He is swimming down at the bottom, man. We have him at 426.
Yep. So give us a reason why he's that low if you don't care, Emilio.
Yeah, if we're looking at him, his PFF 22 is 318, so not horrible. PFF 23, 760. PFF 24, 571. And then PFF big board didn't have him. Consensus had him at 189. So his average is a high average around 380. But DJ had him at 39 on his board. That's
wild. So, I mean, you're seeing this is one of those players, a huge difference in where we have him, where DJ has him. So, again, what's going to
start to even itself out, though, right? Once we get
the next stage is going to take into account Daniel Jeremiah's big board. So it's going to pop him way up on the board, not quite as high as some would think he would be, because, again, we want to take PFF into consideration too. And there'll be that element to our draft board as well. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. All right, let's move it along here. Mike Green, we kind of talked about him earlier, showed the bend on the tape. Mike Green looked like a top 20 pick here in Mobile. His play speed off the edge is real, which helps explain why he led the FBS with 17 sacks in 2024. His bull rush against Oregon offensive tackle Josh Connolly Jr. during a one-on-one drill had everyone talking this week, but there was more than just that one rep to be excited about. Green showed he can win in a variety of ways. We've seen the spin move on the tape. I remember when I first uncovered Mike Green, this was when I first started putting the board together, I had like 20 prospects. He was in that initial tweet. And I messaged Ryan on X, Ryan Schlip, Pack Daddy, and I was like, hey, you seen this Mike Green dude? And he hit me back with some tape. So he was already looking into Mike Green. I think he's the real deal, man. It's going to be exciting to see where he falls. Where do we have him on the board?
Mike Green. Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I'll just scroll to the top.
Right here.
I'll scroll to the top. Yep. 12, man. I really don't see him slipping past. Definitely top 20. I probably pushing top 15. I would say he's probably gone.
Yeah, he got the Senior Bowl week bonus there. He performed all week long. Daniel Jeremiah raved over him. All these players on this list got a slight bonus on our board because we want to take into consideration the All-Star week as well. There was 5 from the East-West Shrine Bowl week that got a little bit of love from NFL.com's one of their other NFL draft insiders. I can't remember the name of the guy, but we went ahead and rolled with that as a qualifier as well. Look at my boy Maxwell Hairston. This is another interesting one here, Emilio. I know he's low on our board. Hairston was one of the buzzy names of the week in Mobile. I really like his ball skills, 5 interceptions in 2023. We talked about he had a much better year in 2023 than he did last year, and he was a big-time competitor in every practice. He helped himself here. Where do we have Hairston? I want to say he's quite a bit lower than what
222 we had Maxwell. His didn't have a 22 grade for him. 23 was 62nd. 24 he was 484. Big board PFF had him at 74. Consensus at 62, and DJ in 33rd. Definitely have him up there 44 and 57. So that's the kind of guy that's going to work himself out of, if you had a bad PFF grade, you performing well and you being on those those head scout kind of boards is definitely going to help that average work out.
Probably going to pop up around the 100 mark, I would imagine.
I would think so.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And that's where maybe if we don't get, like how we've been worried about pulling the trigger early on a corner, because if not, we find ourselves in a dead zone. That could be another guy that could kind of maybe fall to the middle, and we sort of could, grab him late or have an idea on if that was going to be the guy later on.
Yeah. Up next, my boy, Walter Nolan, 6'3", 293 pounds. Nolan's twitch and burst are rare for a player of his size. I still want to see him finish plays a bit more. That issue showed up on tape, and it popped up again when I watched him live this week. That said, there's a lot to dream on with the tools he brings to the table. So Walter Nolan kind of flashed all week long. It's interesting that he pointed out that flaw there. We need to keep an eye on that as we continue to watch tape and we get closer to the draft. But Walter Nolan, Emilio, where do we have him at now on the board, man?
Scroll to the top, man. He's just above Mike Green there at spot 11.
Lord have mercy.
What a dog, tough grade in 22, 360, got better in 23 at 199 and 24. He was 8th best. Big boards had him 33rd and 27th respectively. He's a dog. He is absolutely going to be a dog. If he falls to us, that card, that's where I'm saying that one and Zabel, I think, are going to be, if they're both available, Goody's in a pickle.
Yeah, I agree, man. Again, if you've got 2 guys like that somehow fall to you, and they're in your top tier of talent, you probably pick one, right? You just say, okay, let's go with the one that let's figure out our cluster buster. Let's take him and go.
Yep.
If you've got 5 or 6, let's say those 2 guys are gone and right below them, you got 5 or 6 guys, might be looking to trade back. Right.
Yeah.
And who knows, you might get to a situation where you're down to those 2 and you want to guarantee you get one and you trade up. You know, that could happen too. So Chris C with the super chat. Thank you, Chris. He says subscribe and hit that like button. You'll never be disappointed with the content on here. Appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much for the kind words, man. If you guys would, we hate to ask, I hate to bother you with it, but if you would just take a quick second, hit the like button. Feel free to sub to the channel. We appreciate y'all making us part of your evening here, man. All right. Up next, we've got Shemar Stewart. He was mocked to us, right? I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, right? Let's see here. 23. Yeah. Daniel Jeremiah in his mock draft 1.0 had Shemar Stewart out of Texas A&M going to us there, like I said, in the 23 spot. Actually had him going ahead of people like Derek Harmon, James Pierce Jr., TJ Sanders, guys like that. Kyle Krabs, I want to say, had him even higher. He had him at number 9 going to the Saints in his mock draft. But this is what it says about Shemar Stewart. Here we have a height, weight, speed freak. There was more disruption than production from Stewart during his college career. He posted just 4.5 sacks in 37 games, but I thought he had an impactful week in practices. All of his traits are elite, and he showed he's starting to figure some things out as a pass rusher. This is my least favorite, Emilio, of some of the top guys. Everybody loves this dude, but in the description, you always see he's a freak. He's a physical freak. He's a physical freak. And it's like, I've heard this 1,000 times, and it's a project. He's raw. It's a ball of clay. It's going to take a few years, right? Kind of have that project with LVN. LVN was like, this dude, he is just built perfect for football. He's a physical freak, but he's raw. He needs to develop some pass rush moves. I'm just so sick of that. I don't mean to be negative here, but of all the players, Shemar Stewart's the one that I'm kind of like, I don't know. Where do we have him on the board?
He is 37th. We still have him as an edge. He PFF 22, 855, 23, 333, and then 24, he was 95th. So obviously got better throughout the years. But like you said, just because he's a freak and everything, PFF had him 19th. Consensus had him 25th. He did get that bump for the Senior Bowl performance, right? Yep. But and DJ as well had him 27th, and 33rd had him 16th. I think that's something that Goody would love to be behind, you know, just because he likes that sort of stuff, and that's our first round mentality. But let's take a step inside in the first round, though. Offense or defense. I mean, I want that Walter Nolan. I want, give us a 3 or, give us an interior kind of O-lineman.
Yeah, Joe in the chat said, didn't I just hear they said Shemar was the most dominating player in reps this week? I didn't hear that.
They were saying that in the PFF podcast. I'm pretty sure that they said that he just absolutely crushed it. And he was just like the one that had the best reps. So maybe good for him, right? Hopefully he goes and soaks up in others. At this point, we want these kind of guys to do really well, soak up a spot in front of us. Let's let one fall to us that we had our eye on.
Right. And again, there's nothing wrong with having those crazy physical traits. It's very, very important, obviously. But right. I want the dude that's got the traits and they have the production, right? That perfect world is what I'm looking for there. So let's see. I think Drew D says, Shemar Stewart is my edge 10, but I don't account for physical characteristics as much until the combine. So he'll probably skyrocket up your boards once you get to the combine the way that you
6'6", 290. I mean, yeah, his RAS is going to be probably through the roof. So
absolute freak. We'll see, man. He may grow on me too. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying it's a bad pick at 23. Most likely, the way DJ's talking about him, he'll probably be gone by the time we pick. But there's just other players in front of him that I really like. Like I could name off, several of them. Like Nick Scourton's one. He's at the Senior Bowl this week. Really like him. Another edge defender on our board ahead of him is Princely, who a lot of people aren't talking about, man. Yeah. Princely Umanamilan, I think is how you say his name, out of Ole Miss. He's one that's in the 19 spot for us, man. He just dominated. He He was in 24. He was the 4th highest graded edge defender, And I think he's 53rd on the 33rd team big board. However, Daniel Jeremiah's big board hasn't he's outside of Daniel Jeremiah's top 50, so we don't have a grade there yet. So he'll probably sink a little bit when we put that average in. But right now he's higher. Jack Sawyer, I've got him in the 16 spot. Daniel Jeremiah had him in the 40 spot, and the 33rd team had him at 75. So he will be dropping on our board when we average that out at the next qualifier. But just right now, these are some of the guys. James Pierce Jr. is another one, which – you know, when we mentioned James Pierce Jr. and like, hey, man, would you be okay with taking him at 23? You got a mixed bag. Some people were saying he won't be there. There's no way. There's others that saying, no, I don't want him with the 23rd pick. He's not worth it. Daniel Jeremiah's got him at 20, and the 33rd team has him at 13 right now. So I'm just saying if James Pierce falls, those are just a handful of guys. Mike Green, another one, right? Another edge defender. And then, of course, it goes without saying Abdul Carter will probably be a top 3 pick. So there's several guys I like ahead of Shamar Stewart, but if they're all gone and he's the best on the board, I'd have no problem with the pick. I would.
How big is Preston? How big was Preston?
Preston
Smith, was he like 6'5", 6"?
Huge. I'll get it right here. Let me Google it.
Because if that's the kind of you know shape we're talking, I guess I'm not mad at it. I just need to watch a little bit more of Stewart. Was he hand in the dirt edge or no?
6'5", 265.
Yeah.
Preston Smith.
So another 30 pounds on him. If he's explosive with that kind of weight, all right. But let's see where he weighs in at, and you know, kind of go from there. But yeah, if you're overpowering a tackle because you're basically the same size as him, you know, maybe we can talk.
Yeah. Coach Lynn says Green, Sawyer, and Pierce Jr. over Stewart.
I love Pierce Jr. I do love Pierce Jr.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. All right, let's move it along here. Next, Mason Taylor. All right. Taylor makes it all look so easy, much like his dad. You're going, who? Pro Football Hall of Famer Jason Taylor did for so many years in the NFL. Mason Taylor caught the ball well and ran great routes in practices. He's only 20 years old, but he looks like he's going to be ready-made with no assembly required at the next level. I see some similarities to Zach Ertz when he was entering the league back in 2013. Taylor should have a long NFL career. So this is Jason Taylor's son. Obviously, Jason Taylor, the great pass rusher that played for Miami for so many years.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Mason Taylor's aunt's in the news right now. We won't get into all that if you guys know who I'm talking about there. But anyway, Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. Emilio, where do we have him at, man? We got several LSU or several tight ends in this draft that are first round talent, seems like.
Yeah, we have Mason at 64th. But yeah, we do have a few tight ends here in the top 100. I would say I think that there's going to be maybe one or maybe two, at least one. I think is going in the first round. Maybe two.
I've got two in the top 10. Man, we got him. Tyler Warren in the 6th spot. That could change as we get to the next qualifier. Colston Loveland is in the 9th spot.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I want to say there was another one. Harold Fannin Jr. is in the 26th spot. And then I want to say the next one was outside of the first round. Mason. Yeah, then Mason Taylor. Yeah.
Okay. So, that's crazy. Just times have changed, right, Clay? The fact that 3 tight ends are going in, you know, or possibly 3 tight ends in the first round, that's wild.
Yeah, it really is. And next you've got Azare Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. I had Thomas ranked number 43 in my initial top 50, and I might have to think about moving him up the board a bit next time, given how he performed in practices this week. Like Harrison, Thomas competed every day. I love his length, fluidity, and physicality. So Azare Thomas.
We have him 116.
116. So, and again, DJ's got him outside of the top 50, but he's saying that he's 43, I'm sorry. And he may even climb up even further. So that'll get adjusted as we move forward. He'll definitely be climbing up our board here in the next couple of days. So very interesting. All right. Anybody else? Kyle Williams. This one was wild, Emilio. Where do you see where he's at? Kyle Williams, wide receiver out of Washington State. I knew Williams had good speed, but what impressed me in practice was the polish he showed in his release. He created separation throughout the week and caught the ball well. He's put himself in the mix to be drafted on day 2, and he should benefit from the receiver class not being quite as strong as others we have seen in recent years. Williams helped himself a lot. Where do we have him, Emilio? I'll hold my breath here.
429.
Why is he down that far? Talk to me, man. What's bringing
So his
down?
PFF didn't look bad. 22, he was 253. 23 was 389. 24, he was 64th best. PFF didn't even have him. Consensus had him at 840.
Wow, 840 on the consensus big board. That's definitely what's bringing him down. We might want to make an exception for him. That feels like a mistake. You know what I mean? 800.
I don't know. Well, let me double check. Let me see if they changed anything on it.
Maybe we should. Yeah. If it's changed at this point, we'll change it now. But if it hasn't changed up to now, we're not going to let it sway us. All right? How about that?
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, fam, you're such a jerk, man. He says, wow, this guy going to be bald in 5 years. Unbelievable. What's wrong with you, man? That's like the Jerry Rice hairline. You guys remember his braids started back here on the backside of his career? Like his braids literally started back there. Aaron Jones, same thing. But I can't.
Nope, they still have him at 840. Kyle Williams, Washington State.
Hey, got to do what you got to do. You know, we're going to leave him. And
it'll help. I mean, if DJ gives him a grade or anything like that, I mean, he got a bump a little bit. But if he gets any sort of grade from anybody else,
yeah, it's wherever he falls on DJ's top 150, if he lands in the top 150, that'll help him a ton.
Yeah, right.
33rd team didn't have him in their top 100, did they? So there you go. Maybe they're on to something. All right, next, your boy, Gray Zabel. Zabel is in consideration for the first round after the way he played this week. He looks like a day one starter. We knew he would be ready to compete at guard and tackle, but he looked really comfortable at center in practices as well. If you can play every position on the offensive line, that is going to endear you to a lot of GMs, especially Brian Gutekunst, and coaches around the league. Gray Zabel, offensive tackle, but like I said, could play all three positions. At least he kind of proved that here at the Senior Bowl week, North Dakota State. Where do we have him?
We have him 22nd.
I would be totally on board with that pick, man.
Yeah,
totally.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine you draft him and he starts day one as your center, and he's just a stud. That would be freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'll take it. I mean, hey, he's a dog. He knows what it's like to work up there in the cold. I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. And that is the end of that article. Again, that was Daniel Jeremiah's 12 prospects that improved their stock there at the Senior Bowl. Go give it a like, a follow. Make sure you're following Daniel Jeremiah on Twitter. He is unbelievable. Just the perfect follow this time of year, no doubt. Emilio, do we want to hit on anything else here this evening? We probably got we can go another 20 minutes or we can wrap it up early. What do you want to do, man? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Can you pull up 33rd team's Twitter? Did you see that picture they put up of the Lions going through all their coordinators? Did you see that one?
No. So it's on their website?
It should be on their Twitter, yeah.
On their Twitter. Okay, let me look real quick.
It was an image of all the coaches at the Lions or that had left the Lions, and I was just trying to see, it's going to be tough for them, right? They lost their OC, they lost their DC, and then like we've always talked about, if you lose a guy or if a guy leaves your squad, they've worked with other coaches that are in there. That's something that he's going to have to replace. It's going to be a find and replace mission. You got to get other talent in there. I think it said they lost 7 coaches.
Yeah. Here you go. Talk to him. Tell us about it here.
Yeah, let's see here. So we got Ben Johnson from Detroit to Chicago head coach, Aaron Glenn from Detroit to New York Jets head coach, Terrell Williams to Detroit D-line to coach New England's DC. Yep. We have Steve Hayden, Detroit's tight end coach, to New York Jets O-line coach. And then we have Antoine Randall from Detroit to Chicago, wide receiver coach, assistant head coach. JT Barrett from Detroit to Chicago for a quarterback coach. And then Tanner Engstrand from Detroit to New York Jets as OC. You lost 3 to each of your OCs. Or I'm sorry, 3 total, right? But 2 extras to each of your OCs, and then your D-line coach gets snagged for the fun of it. I mean, now they're going to really see what it's all about, what it's like to – when we saw with Matt, everybody kind of, you get the churn out. We've been lucky with Steno. Joe Barry's gone because we weren't happy. Hafley's in here. We got a couple of other interviews. So you're going to get that overturn, but let's see how Detroit handles it after a winning season and see if they can't, keep the train on the tracks.
You said we got lucky with Steno, right? Look at this.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news. Aaron Rodgers, our Aaron Rodgers, not the Aaron Rodgers, is breaking. Stenovich getting looked at by Houston as OC. So Steno getting another look there, man.
I mean, we're going to be coming up to how many? It's just camp that's left. And we got our quarterbacks coach. He retired. So, I mean, we haven't lost a bunch, I don't think.
Yeah, here's the thing, too, like the precedent that's involved. We always talk precedent on here, right? So if Steno does get hired by Houston, who would you promote to your OC? In the past, what did he do? He had obviously Stenovich was the offensive line coach. So does it become Coach Butkus as your offensive coordinator? Or would you bypass him and go to Jason Vrabel, your wide receiver coach, right? Mm. Now, last year we were talking about how they done such a good job with the wide receivers. We were really impressed with Vrabel. Like he'll probably be a hot commodity. This year they were third or fourth most drops in the league. So it kind of his stock falls down a little bit. Or do you go outside the building and get somebody? You want to know my horror story? Who I would be terrified that he would bring in as OC is?
Let's hear it.
Mike LaFleur, his brother. That would suck. I don't me no like that jam. Me no like when the brothers like the nepotism and all that. That's Mike LaFleur's had opportunities all over the league, and he seems to have not lived up to. I don't even know if there's that much hype around him. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy here, but I really wouldn't like that move. I'm a little scared of that one. Who would be the OC he could bring?
Yeah,
in?
you don't want Matt out there.
Exactly. What about bringing in Mike McCarthy as the offensive coordinator? Bro, I would lose my mind. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's still pissed off at Mark Murphy. I know that. Mark Murphy fired him mid-season. Didn't even let him talk to his team.
Yeah.
Come upstairs. I want to talk to you. Get your
but Mark's going to be out here in a couple months, right?
That's true. That's true. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. Stenovich, though, I don't think Stenovich will get that job down there, but I could be wrong. I'm trying to think of who else is more qualified, though, to be honest with you. And
how long has he been? He's been an OC for 3 years now, 2-3 years.
And we just got Slowick from Houston, right? Am I thinking right? Didn't Slowick just come from Houston? And he's going to be some kind of assistant. So Slowick might become we might switch OCs. That would be wild, wouldn't it?
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah. They just within house said, you know what, Slowick, you're the new OC since Steno went to Houston. They fire Slowick as offensive coordinator. He comes over here. Stenovich takes his job, replaces him, and then we replace Steno with Slowick. That would be wild. Absolutely wild.
Because, I mean, the thing is, when we're bringing in an OC, it's, Matt's always talked about it in his presser, but he's bouncing off ideas from Steno, and Steno and him are bouncing ideas. Steno's in the box all the time. But it's not going to be an OC that's going to be calling plays. So it's going to be not literally calling plays, but you're going to have a lot of input. So we do want someone either that might challenge Matt, that might get him to, think outside the box, push his boundaries a little bit. You might not want just, someone that's, yes man or whatever. So I wouldn't be opposed to an outside search, but you're right. It would, if that's the case, probably an inside hire, move them up and keep the offense churning.
Right. Drew D says, Ed Policy's big move, bringing Mike McCarthy back. LOL. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I honestly don't. I don't think McCarthy would do it. I think if you bring him in as a special advisor, like, hey, he's sitting out this year. Hey, Mike, would you come in and be a special advisor? You live in Green Bay. He loves Green Bay. That would be more of a
Got
role.
a street. Doesn't he have a street? He can go.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, I love Mike McCarthy.
Everybody walks in, Mike.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
It just feels like that would be a long shot to bring him back into the building to be the special assistant to the guy who took his job. Just seems kind of, especially when there's no ties. There's zero ties between Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur, So
that's very
true. That's what Drew went on to say too. There you go. McCarthy would never take a job beneath head coach, though. Yeah, I agree with that. 2-0 for this, Dan Orlovsky. Hey, listen, boys, people see that and they laugh, but there was a little bit of smoke there. I felt like. What do you think? Would you be okay with Dan Orlovsky coming in as the OC? Hey, listen, he understands the game.
He does.
He doesn't know where the back line is in the end zone. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed really to a fresh, a new take. It's somebody that, maybe likes Matt, maybe likes what he does, but thinks that there are a few things that he could adjust to make it better. It's not that you need someone there to challenge him. You just need someone there to kind of branch his ideas. Might be heading down the right road, but there might be a little shortcut or a little off-road trail that we can take for the sightseeing along the way. But like, let's get just a little bit more to it. Because you got to stay fresh. I know Matt does it. I know he's got all those tabs up, but
yeah. AFAM says Magic Mike. That's a Photoshop waiting to happen. Somebody make that happen for me. You're hearing my voice. I need a Mike McCarthy on a Magic Mike Photoshop.
Wow.
That's AFAM's favorite movie, by the way. Joyce Martha in the chat. I thought Slowick was a good pick. Was picked up. Was he really? I was thinking the Packers hired him. We might be talking about two different people. I was thinking his name was Slowick with a W. She might have just had a typo there. Let me check real quick. Slowick, Bobby Slowick, right? Bobby Slowick is. I didn't know he went to Green Bay Southwest High. That's pretty wild. Unless it's a Green Bay in a different city. Bobby Slowick with a W. She might be thinking of someone else too. Is an American football coach who previously served as offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. He began his career. Blah 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 blah. Where did he go? I was thinking. So he was fired. Come on, can somebody give me some kind of update here? Let me go.
We're sitting here. Matt's over here like
pat you on the butt, and you poop my hand. So
this is how you get to an hour 20 right here, baby. Texans OC Bobby Slowick back home in Green Bay to face the Packers. That wasn't it. So did I dream that, Emilio?
You could have. I mean, you really could have. It's been a long week.
Wow. So Wikipedia should have everywhere he's been on the right-hand side is what
here we go. I'm old for this, speaking the truth. This show sucks.
That's a fact. Are you kidding me? There's Bob Slowick, but that's not Bobby Slowick, right?
Crystal over here is spinning some. Crystal's got a little take here. Has anyone seen the articles on the refs getting fined and terminated? Just curious if it's actually true. The articles were of the Packers last game and the Chiefs and Bills last game and Eagles and Commanders last game. I personally have not seen that, but I wouldn't be opposed to them. I mean, let's get them a full-time job. Let's get them healthcare. Let's get them benefits. You got, I mean, it could be like teachers. You got the season, you got a preseason, you got to come up to, you still got to get stuff done in the off season. I want, some study material done. I feel like if I mean, it's not like we don't have fans of football. You're telling me you can't go find 50 refs that are ready to go, that know the game inside and out, that, could basically be a coach.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything on this Bobby Slowick thing. So
you dreamt it.
Disregarded. I might have been in the bottle that night. I don't know.
I mean,
I was sitting out on the back deck with a fire, me and Link, and I'm going, Bobby Slowick. That's awesome. He signed with Green Bay, Link, and Link went.
Yeah.
Dude's so out of pocket.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
I'm glad you said to bring this up, though, man. That's really cool. That we're going to see what Dan Campbell can do now, right? This is his first sign of adversity, He's kind of had everything going for him up to this point.
So that's it. How are you the team's got to rally. The team's got to be ready to follow behind you. You talked it from the first press conference, but you've also had that team there basically since your first press conference. I mean, it's and you lost them all. They're all gone now. You got to replace 7 people. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're ready to rally. All right. This right here is what they're doing. This is Jacob on date night right now. I promise.
Get ready to go.
Perfect drop. He was he's probably like to me he reminds me of David Hasselhoff eating that cheeseburger when he was drunk as a skunk. You ever seen that video, Emilio? Please tell me you've seen that video. Oh my God. So. I wish we could show it. I'm sure somebody's got copyright.
We'll watch it after this.
We will. I'm telling you guys, the after show sometimes is hilarious. As soon as the show ends, we start pulling up videos and watching. Oh my God, it's hilarious, dude. It goes off the rails immediately.
It does.
Somebody in the chat, tell me you've seen that video of David Hasselhoff eating the cheeseburger so drunk he can't even hold it together. Like it is hilarious, man. Joyce Martha says, Clayton, I'm looking now and I was thinking Seattle. Oh, I thought she was talking about David Hasselhoff video. She's talking about Slowick. Thank you so much, Joyce Martha. You were awesome. Yeah, people seen it. Joe's seen it. Iconic.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to see it. That's fair. We can do that. But yeah, no, like I said, I just wanted to bring it up. I wasn't sure if you saw it, but it's going to be us at some point. I'm just saying, I think Matt's done a great job in carrying that, we haven't really noticed kind of the turnover that's happened throughout, but 7 to the Lions, man, they're going to have to show up this next year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right. So there you go. We'll see if Dan Campbell can continue the magic over there in Motown as they try to replace all these coaches. Go ahead, Amelia.
I was going to say, did you want to show them the board real quick? Is that where you were heading?
Let's hit it. Let's show them the board. We got a little bit of an update here, guys. All right. And so basically what we're up to, everything right now is sorted by our normal average that we had, created the other day. Right. Yep. And then, so that was the original grade. Now with the Senior Bowl and Shrine Week bonuses, right, the 5-point bonuses, we sort the new average, and now it realigns here, okay, and you get a new leaderboard and slightly adjust. Now, if you'll notice off to the right here, what we have is Daniel Jeremiah's big board is going to come into factor now, and all he's done so far is the top 50. It's a little bit later in the offseason that he does his complete big board. Really, he just does top 150s, all I've ever noticed. I don't think he goes to 200, but again, that'll provide a little bit of a bonus for those players he's heavy on. The reason I do that is Daniel Jeremiah is going to carry a third of our score's weight because he's kind of like, we look at him like our lead scout or head scout, right? His input is going to carry more value as anybody's, along with Kyle Krabs, who is over at the 33rd team. Okay, so that's the 33rd team column there. So once we get past that point, you're going to get a new average grade that's going to be the newest score, and then we await Combine and Pro Day. And the way that works is if someone scores a 9+ RAS, which is Relative Athletic Score, if you guys don't know what that is, go check it out. Do a little research on it. It's done by Math Bomb. They do an excellent job with that every year. 9+ RAS gets you another 5-point bonus. So you'll subtract 5 off that score and climb up the board a little bit more. If they score an 8+, between 8 and 8.9, then you'll get a 3-point bonus. And if you score a 7 to 7.9, you'll get a 1-point bonus is how that'll work. Then after that, coming down all the way up to like 2 or 3 days before the draft, Emilio, Greg Cosell is just rapid firing prospects on the Ross Tucker football podcast and other podcasts that he does. And anytime that he is like has a glowing review of a prospect, we'll give a Greg Cosell bonus. So he's kind of like our senior advisor in the draft room as well.
I'm going to need to make notes because I've been starting to listen to a couple of those Ross Tucker ones, and he's got his draft one, and I know Greg's hopped on a few of them because he's on the install too. So it's I'm going to have to remember to make notes when I hear those so we can put them on there.
Every year leading up to the draft, I'm listening to those podcasts. Eric will see me shut the mower down, right? Throw her up, throw the emergency clip on it, and I'm on the phone making a note. He's like, you listen to Greg Cosell? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Got to get that info.
Lines all shaky. Stripes are all messed up. Who cares?
Since you're helping build the board this year, what we'll do is have a text thread. On that text thread, let's just copy and paste. Greg Cosell, love this guy. And even if he says he doesn't like anyone, there's not going to be a penalty for that, but we want to know that information. You know what I mean?
Maybe we give him a little color notice or a little highlighter marker or something. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I like it because then you said, like you said, down the road we're going to build the vertical board. So it'll be good. Or the horizontal. I'm sorry, big board. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and the other thing that we're going to do here too. I was trying to get back over there. I don't know what I've done, but I can't get back to the left now.
Oh, it's on. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So the other thing that's going to happen is if someone meets the maximum criteria of the Packers, meaning the Packers brought them in for a top 30 visit, right? So you got the visit aspect. The top 30 visit's huge. If they met with them in general, okay, that'll count as a visit. If they have a visit, they meet the physical threshold, which we'll have to run down all that information of each position in the physical threshold. They meet that requirement of the perfect age, that type of thing, right? Goody DiCaprio over there. Mm-hmm. All those things line up perfectly. You're going to end up with like the perfect prospects for the Packers. And again, last year we finished with, I think it was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Yeah, 5, 6 prospects that lined up absolutely perfect for the Packers. Those prospects were running back Ray Davis, Defensive lineman Michael Hall Jr., I think was his name. Edge defender Marshawn Nealon and Austin Booker. Linebacker Tyron Hopper, which we drafted, and safety Katan Oladapo that we drafted. So we had that narrowed down to 6 players that was just like everything. The stars line up for the Packers to take this guy if he's available in terms of interest. 2 of the 6 got drafted by the Packers. So
maybe we'll just keep adding cheese emblems, like when they meet them at the combine and stuff, or they do that. We're just going to have, someone's going to have like 18 cheese emblems at the end. We're going to have to just shrink it down and put a number next to it and say, this is the dude that's going to end up there.
Power, right?
Yeah, I like that.
And it's going to be like the Ohio State, they put the Buckeyes on the helmets. It's going to be like that. They're going to have a bunch of cheese in them. So
speaking of Buckeyes, Aaron Rodgers was asking, what's your thoughts on drafting Henderson out of Ohio State? Asking me, Aaron, I'll tell you, man, looking at the board, 2nd round pick, he's 51st on our board. They kind of have him at a 3rd round pick, PFF and the big board, but DJ and 33rd are also completely different on him as well. You got to, he's 36 for DJ, definitely, edge of the 1st round, 2nd, and then 33rd team has him 3rd round plus. I love the way he runs. It's just, me personally, we're not taking a running back, right? I don't think that's going to be, unless he falls to us in the 5th round and, Lloyd didn't work out. I mean, we've got someone in the hopper already. We have Jacobs. We've got Emmanuel that played well. Brooks was basically like a fullback / running back. He did a lot of blocking. If we're not going to bring in somebody that can do that, I don't see somebody kind of eclipsing that, especially with Lloyd coming.
And me and Aaron were having a conversation about this over on X. And what he mentioned is, hey, what about getting him in here? Let's say he falls to us, right? And just full transparency here, Aaron, it looks like he's probably pre-combine, pre-Greg Cosell. He's probably going to drop a little bit on our board, I would imagine. He's going to sink just a touch. So it'd probably be around the 55 to 60 mark is where he's going to finish before all the combine stuff. And he may rip that up. I think he's a hell of a running back. I do.
Yeah, right.
But what he was saying, Emilio, was think about it. You really like Marshawn Lloyd, right? You've got Josh Jacobs already. What if you go draft him and then in a year or 2 you move on from Josh Jacobs? You remember when we signed Josh Jacobs, we were like, this is really just a 1-year deal. The guaranteed money is just a 1-year deal. And Josh Jacobs went absolutely off, right? But you know how good he is, man. He's willing to move on before. But the precedent suggests that he will allow people to play their contract out in that position, right? So think about that too. Like, at the running back position, he let Aaron Jones essentially play the contract out. He restructured a couple times, and then we ended up cutting him out, right? No, he was a free agent, right? Or did we cut him and then tried to re-sign him? And I'm trying to think of how that happened. Aaron Jones.
I don't remember. I want to say cut and tried to re-sign him back because we were just off $1 million.
So there is a little precedent for that in the final year of the contract when it comes to running backs for Goody. So with Josh Jacobs, that would mean 2 years from now. So what he's saying is, what if this dude falls in your lap, right? What if Henderson falls in your lap? And then you look up and, you go ahead and draft him. And it's him, Marshawn Lloyd, and Josh Jacobs for 2 years. And then he takes over for Josh Jacobs when Josh Jacobs leaves and you're off and running. I can understand the thought process.
That's true.
But, again, we just got so many other needs. I can't justify taking a running back when Emmanuel Wilson was a top 10 graded running back. You know what I mean?
And we really like Chris Brooks, who we picked up from free agent, out of a practice squad. There's so many. I feel like you can find a decent enough running back out of free agency or pluck from a practice squad or something along those lines. That can happen. It's not something I think you need to chase down unless your team is absolutely hurting for one. If you haven't had one in 5 years, you need to take, like the Falcons taking Bijan. All right. Now they've got a back that can do it a lot, do it all. And whoever gets Ashton Genty, all right, yeah, you're going to have a dog now. If he goes to the Cowboys, if he goes, wherever he goes, I can see, you can build a franchise around it. We just saw it with Saquon, but it's got to be kind of the right situation, right scenario. I think we already have a dude, and maybe next year I would be more willing to take a pull at it.
Yeah, Coach Lynn says Dylan could be really good with all the gap runs we do now. It's such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a disappointment from A.J. Dillon's standpoint that the year that we decide to go with a lot of gap run, a lot of duo, things that are inside that kind of fits A.J. Dillon's running style is the year he gets hurt. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's so tough. I think that A.J. Dillon's probably played his last snap in Green Bay. That'd be my guess. But you never know, man. You never know. I'm with you, Coach. He would have fit what we did this year way better than in the past when we were running a lot of stretch runs, right? A lot of outside zones. So, yeah. Drew D, please, Genty, don't go to the Bears, man. If they get him, Genty's the real deal, boys. I mean, he's on our board here. He is the 4th best prospect. He is in that top tier. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 prospects in the top tier as it sits right now. And that is Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan, Travis Hunter, cornerback out of Colorado, Abdul Carter, edge defender out of Penn State, and then running back Ashton Genty.
He'd be one that's probably not going to pass out of the top 10. You know, he's just going to somehow, some team's going to pull the trigger on him. If he is that freaky, I mean, he was, 20th, first, 5th, or 5th on the board. I mean, he's been elite year after year.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's an absolute stud. So, all right, let's get out of here, Emilio. We were trying to make hour 20, now we're hour 25. So that's funny how that works, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you want to hit on, man?
Appreciate my sister. Got the Packaholic shirt.
Ooh, sharp.
It also works. It also works because I got the Milwaukee pack out. So Milwaukee sponsored the show. We got the driver here right on board. But yeah, no. Hey man, I'm glad we're here. Senior Bowl tomorrow, man. It's gonna be a good one.
I was looking for something I can promote, but I ain't got anything, man. Sprite Zero. There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Put the piece away, Clayton. We don't need to see that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Tonight's show is brought to you by Springfield. You know what I'm saying?
Get ready to go.
There you go. All right. You guys know, anybody who knows me personally, I'm a gun enthusiast. So, all right, Emilio, thank you for your time, man. It's a lot of fun, dude.
Absolutely, Clay. Can't wait.
All right.
And
we're going to see
tomorrow. Oh, I was going to say, you go.
Go ahead. You good?
No, you're going to hit it.
All right. We're not doing a show tomorrow. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
We may do a morning show. I'm not 100% sure. I was thinking about taking the morning off because tomorrow at 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern time, we're going to be going live for a watch party for the Senior Bowl, just like we did for the Shrine Bowl, okay? Guys, this is the main event. The Shrine Bowl was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But you're talking about a ton of top 100 prospects who are going to be competing tomorrow in that Shrine Bowl. So we're going to do a live watch party during the Shrine Bowl. We'll be bringing you all the news updates from around the Packers, anything else. We'll be talking prospects. You guys hit us up in the Patreon group, what prospects you like. Hit us up in the chat with them when we go live as well. And we'll just kind of watch the Senior Bowl together and see who's flashing and who is. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Order some pizza, get some wings brung in. That's the day it's okay to drink a daddy soda before 5 o'clock. All right. You can have your daddy soda or two, watch a little football. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
All that tape we've been watching this week, Clay, that's all Senior Bowl stuff. All those one-on-ones, all that stuff we've been getting excited about. Everybody we've heard about this week. The Shrine game happened. Everything we've heard about has been Senior Bowl.
Right. It is. We were talking Senior Bowl practice while we were doing the watch party for the Shrine Bowl.
Right.
Because the Senior Bowl is so – it's hard to – I mean, you see it. It's the background here, right? That's the setup there down in Mobile, Alabama. So it's going to be fun, man. Make sure you guys set your calendar, set your
alarm clock 3 times. Get your breakfast in. Get a little something in the stomach before we start drinking, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, again, we're going live at 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. We'll get the stream go ahead and created tonight so you guys can go ahead and set your reminder on that. It's going to be a blast. So, and we're doing the giveaway. Again, if you want to get yourself into the contest for the giveaway, the autographed Dorsey Levens jersey, make sure you're a member of our Patreon group, one of the 3 tiers, or a member here on YouTube for tomorrow, okay? We're going to do that probably about halfway through the stream. We'll spin the wheel. Everybody's name will go on that's contributing there. That's a part of our Patreon group, and we'll give that autographed jersey away to a lucky winner. So, again, thank you. How about
these hands?
It's coming.
Hey, you ain't going to be able to avoid it tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow, guys. Everybody have a great night. Appreciate your time. Go Packers.
And we go. Bye, guys.